we'd come and see anybody in India, hopefully, when we're there.
Yeah, let us start our journey. I asked you a question that the 200 hours of the training lasted for 6 months. Why I asked? So I want to start with that. I did my first training long back in 81, 82. 3 months, December, January, and February. I still remember. 50 hours per week. So in 1 month, we had 200 hours. And in 3 months, we have 600 hours of training. It was only in 3 months. And normally, when I came in 2007 here, and I heard, 200 hours of training. So how long it takes, 5 to 6 months. Why it takes 5 to 6 months? I'm invoking one principle. You'll be surprised, and then I'll explain you how the training in the ashram and the monastery goes. What do you mean? 8 to 9 hours per day? Yes. What about the attention span? No, I can listen to you only for an hour. And I think Ashok was also there uh, when we visited monastery of my Guruji, and he used to teach for 5 hours, that is stretch in the morning. After taking rest, we have another 2 or 3 hours up. He used to talk. Think of this. When we start with an idea that I do not have an attention span, I do not have an attention span for more than an hour, and let me stretch it for 5 or 6 months or maybe in a year. In monasteries, you'll be surprised. My master took me to a couple of those ashrams. I was not fortunate enough to receive that kind of a training except from my master. One monastery is there, 300 people, 300 students, early in the morning at 6, from 6 to 11. Take rest, from 2 to 5. And after the dinner, then you have to present what you have learned. Every day. How many days? Maybe for a year. And we talk about this, Now, I'm not joking, but I'm just telling you. The main concern is that, 200 or 300 or 500 hours of the training. When the tiger is chasing and you say, do you say to the tiger, it has been an hour. My attention span is going. I'm not interested. Come tomorrow and attack me. Sam, are you listening? This is the trend. It is basically a trend we made the mind to believe. And that is why it is happening. Master says it is a delusion. It is an ignorance. We have to get rid of this. That is the kind of the tradition that we had. I never thought that I lost my attention span, but I always thought that what my master taught me, can I retain it? How to retain it? Let me repeat it. Let me contemplate and reflect on it, and the life changes. That was perhaps the idea. Think of it. Why I'm addressing Sam again and again? Sam is young. Forget about this attention span. Work on it with a commitment, with a dedication to evolve yourself and the life evolves. Look at the Terry. She never told me that attention span is a problem. So when the mind is clear by listening and learning and contemplating and reflecting, mind becomes clear. The goal of all the goals in life is to evolve yourself, to raise your awareness, to discover that peace and happiness. And it is done. Once you have that commitment in your mind, you throw your attention span. Now, I'm not challenging modern psychology. Whatever they say, they are right. We are also right. You'll start understanding that this is right and start working on it and see what happens. Throw that, that idea of attention span out of your head and you will see it is possible. Anything is possible by the human endeavor. So we were talking about this text known as Panchdashi, and we are covering the 6th chapter. That master says by understanding. When there is an understanding in the intellect, free from the doubt and duality and a confusion, you live in mindfulness. And living and thinking and speaking out of the mindfulness means you are in peace and happiness, love and wisdom. All the time. Do you say to the mind, it's a problem with my attention span, I cannot live in peace? I'm throwing some arguments. If you start thinking in that way, the life changes. We don't want to change our life. So then there is a problem. So the master says listening and learning constantly changes, and then contemplation and reflection, followed by the practice, and the life changes. So you do the practice until you become the highest level of a seeker. When you are the highest level of a seeker, practice is gone. You simply understand. The doubt is gone. That is the meaning of living in a moment. You are in stress and you say, yes, I have heard about it and I'm living in a moment. How it is possible? Living in a moment. You don't know whether the stress belongs to the world or to you, and you are living in a moment. This master says, that's why it gives a metaphor. What metaphor it gives? It gives a metaphor of the canvas. Canvas is the pure consciousness. He compared the just a canvas with the pure consciousness. Then it is starched, it is stiffened. So it is stiffened, and that is our causal stage of the manifestation. And after that, there is a subtle stage that is meditate. That is what the mind is. Mind, intellect, ego, and the memories. And that mind means a reflected consciousness. That mind means the moon. I'm talking through that mind. It is the reflected consciousness. You are listening from the reflected consciousness. It is the moon talking as compared to the sun. Sun has a light, moon has borrowed it. The same way, the mind borrows the consciousness. It becomes a reflected consciousness, and that reflected consciousness creates the world outside. What is the world? Your world. I'm in stress. who created, who feel, who experiences the mind. And behind that, there is a pure consciousness that has nothing to do with your stress or anxiety, duality, and a conflict. So that mind, that reflected consciousness, creates the entire world in which we live. We create our own world. I'm in stress, that is your world. I'm in pleasure, that is your world. You are seeking, desiring, demanding. All that is the world created by the mind, not by you. What is you? Real self. So we have two I, not EYE, but two I. One I says, this is my world, and the other I says, I'm real self, I'm the pure consciousness. So we are not able to differentiate between the two. We are not able to segregate. We are not able to live in that awareness where we know here is the I present in the mind, and here is the I independent of the mind. Do you remember what do you mean by separation? When we separate in our head what is real and unreal, that is known as the power of discernment. Vivek khyati viplava hanupaya. We talk about Ashtanga Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Patanjali says Vivek khyati viplava hanupaya. So in answer to a question, a seeker is asking, what is the method to reach to that state? Patanjali says, Vivek khatir viplava hanupaya. Let the mind settle into discernment. Vivek khati. Viplava hanupaya. All that is the only method. Every master teaches the same thing. The reference is different, expression is different. Vivek khyati means I have to contemplate and reflect. I have to see here is this I coming from the mind which lives in its own world of anxiety, suffering, duality, pleasure, and the real I is pure consciousness. That is totally independent of anything. Why it is independent? Because it does not change. That is why we say it is eternal. It does not change, yes. So when it does not change, it is of the nature of peace. Because it does not change, it is of the nature of the peace, so that I can manifest, I can live into the manifestation of the peace and happiness all the time. That is the meaning of living in a moment. Living in a moment. So we understood, I told you that we are covering first 18 verses, which summarizes the entire teaching. And after that, we elaborate, we explain, we redefine. Why to redefine? To remove all the doubts from the mind. So when we remove all the doubts from the mind, what is left in the mind is reflection of the real self, reflection of the peace, of happiness, of love and wisdom. That is meditation. That is mindfulness, according to the teachings. So what I have to do with this a false I, which is created by the mind, use it as an instrument. Mind is an instrument. Use it as an instrument, like a card, like a phone, like the mouse. No, but I have a confusion. So the master in the verse 13, we are covering 18 verses, and the master in the verse 13, the master says negate it. Negate does not mean that you suppress it, you control it, you fight with it. Negation means I recognize this is not the real I. So leave it. You know, this is neighbor's house and this is mine. How simple it is. So I negate the neighbor's house to confirm this is my house. Where you did it? You did it in your mind. Anxiety comes. Anxiety belongs to the neighbors, not to me. And that is why the master explains, two eye, we do not recognize the two eyes. One eye is constantly working. That is the reflected consciousness. That is the mind. That creates the entire world. It creates the stress and then it solves the stress. It continues to do it all the time. My goodness, it continues to. That is what Master says. That is the illusion we live in. And we continue to live into that illusion. So I told you the Patanjali, what it says, Viveka Khyati Viplavahanopaya. What is the method? Vivek, discernment. So when I see the discernment, here is neighbor's house, here is mine. What is my next movement? Movement towards my house. Movement towards real self. Not movement towards the false self. That is the process of negation. At the same time, so this master says, in our mind, when we negate what is false, there is a natural movement towards what is real. Neighbor's house. What about this? Well, obviously, where I'm moving, my house. So in our mind, negation and assertion, negation or affirmation go together. When they do not go together, take it for granted that my mind is impure, my mind is not able to discern clearly. When? Here and now. And then, the moment the session finishes, then the false eye takes over us. He does not understand this, beard guy does not understand. I have lot of problems. You carry the burden of your stress on your shoulders all the time. What should we do? We have to only understand mirage water does not exist. I have to falsify the mirage water. It appears to exist. Who is speaking? You will say, you are speaking. So you told me that you are speaking. So that you comes to me and I say, I am speaking. There is no I-ness. It is only the conscious mind. It is only the reflected consciousness. When you are tracking late in the night, obviously you see the moonlight. You say, in the moonlight, I am tracking. Fact is that it is not moonlight. For the sake of convenience, continue to say it. But know that it is not moonlight. Same way, the mirage water is not true. The blueness of the sky is not true. The waves in the water is not true. I simply have to know it. I simply have to understand it. So when we live in that understanding, don't you live in understanding that you are man and women? But we don't want to live in the understanding, how are you now? I'm fine, Do you have a stress? So one of my students told me, who does not have a stress? Look at the philosophical statement. Take care of your stress. Recognize you where you are. We start giving a lecture that look at the 8 billion people. Everyone is abnormal, including you. Yes. So it means I don't want to remove that abnormality. I don't want to understand it. So then there is always a problem. Then we start blaming others. So the moment you start blaming others, the mind is outward. Mind creates the own world of the suffering, lives into it, seeks sympathy, tries to fight with it. So what the master is saying, the mind and the word, you leave it, negate it. The moment you negate it, that real self manifests. It comes because the purity of the mind is now there, and you have entered into that step. So what we did last time, that understand that is very important to understand. Once I have that understanding and the knowledge, that knowledge and understanding have transformed me. I have started living into the state of the mindfulness 24/7. But that knowledge cannot stop the appearance. Knowledge falsify what is delusion. Knowledge do not destroy what continues to appear. I look at the blueness of the sky, it continues to appear to me. But now I know it is not. I look at my house and the floor, it is stationary. But I know the earth is not stationary. That is understanding. See that? I know the wave is nothing but the water. But I have the knowledge does not mean that the knowledge will destroy the waves. Knowledge will stop. Knowledge will stop. When I look at the earth, it will keep on moving. No. That is the creation by the word, existence. It will continue to appear the way it was before, and it is now. So what has happened? I falsified. What I falsified? I falsified what is wrong. I falsified the mirage water. Does not mean the mirage water will not continue to be visible, perceptible. It will continue. So when I say you look in your partner as a human being, don't see them as a husband and a wife. It does not mean that they will be destroyed. So why we think in that way? Why we doubt? Because of the impurity of the mind. And that impurity ultimately holds on your mind and it creates an individual which does not exist. It is only the conscious mind. To remove that delusion of false I, when you do not understand the teachings of this master, then go for 20 years of kundalini meditation. It will take 20 years. In one of the core texts on kundalini, it says it takes 20 years when you do the practice for 5 hours every day. But how can I practice 5 hours? There is a problem of attention span. We have created millions of delusion in our life, and that delusion multiplies itself. We go on repeating it, and that causes the problem in our life. Where is the problem? So, canvas, the example, the metaphor seems to be identical, but they are, I told you before also. I'm not going there. So what happens? The metaphor, canvas, pure consciousness is there. And on that pure consciousness, there is a superimposition. You have a white cloth, and then you put any colored cloth. That white hides. But it does not mean that they are mixed up. Same way, the mind and the real self, mind superimposed On the mind, the word is superimposed, but it does not mean that they all are merged like the water and the milk. They remain separate. But how to know they are separate? By the power of discernment. So when I follow the power of discernment, I find that there is a natural state of dispassion. So when there is a natural state of the dispassion, then the moonlight appears very cool. Then what happens? The mind, that is reflected consciousness, perceives the world as it is. So out of which the six treasures manifest. What are those six treasures? We have discussed many a times. It is the state of the calmness. The mind, this first one is known as sama, second one is known as dhamma. Now the sense organ perceives the world as it is. It does not add the spices. Look at this honey, my honey does not understand. So you don't add these spices. You live into that state of calmness. So the second treasure. Third is samdam uparati. You will experience, it's not a matter of ego, you will experience as if you are not the part of this world due to attachment and detachment. Uparati. You're living just above, little above. Uparati. And then the fourth one, challenges comes. Challenges in the life is always there. There's always a new challenge every moment. So the master says, no worries. Mind will manifest endurance known as titiksha. The level of endurance will keep your attention span continues until the problem is resolved. Problems will definitely come. That is the nature of the world. And then what happens when you follow all these four treasures? The fifth one comes, what is known as the faith. And that faith in the real self, not faith in the false side. False side does not exist. It is created by the mind. It is consciousness. That is what we say the individual. You go in search of what is an individual, you don't find it. Science says, no, explore the science. What the science says, let them say. But if you believe that you are an individual, so try to explore your individuality. And the fifth one, what happens? Samadhanam. Samadhanam means, solution, resolution. You resolve all the challenges of your life and you live into that state of mind. That is known as awakening. That is known as realization. That is the journey of the mindfulness. So we have covered half of the verse 14. We will cover another 3-4 verses in a couple of weeks, and then we will understand, go deeper. For that, commitment is required. I have already explained, in 3 months, I completed 600 hours of the training. And normally, it's okay. It's a part of it's a way that we perceive. And in 7 months or 8 months, we complete 200 hours of training. From the first lesson to the second lesson. First lesson I have heard. I did not find the time to go through it. Now I'm having the second lesson. The first lesson is already gone out of my mind. This does not work. But anyhow, it should be. That's a part of the game. Not only in yoga, but in different disciplines also. We have 100 hours of, 25 hours of. What is that? Continuity education. I have to be a part of the system. So I follow that part. But I have some reservation. Why? Based on the teachings of these masters. So close your eyes. Close your eyes, and I Eyes are closed. We are doing, that is what I have been saying, a contradictory paradox logic. Eyes are closed. Position of the body, you are aware, body is settled. And how do you know that body is settled? Because of the conscious mind, not because of you. You are aware. You again, I have to communicate that you are aware. That is how the mind has a limitedness. Because if I don't create a subject and object, nowhere in the known, I cannot communicate. So I have to look into that communication. The language is not awareness. The word is not awareness. It is independent. I believe you have understood. So eyes are closed, the body is settled. That is why I say paradox logic, that we are doing a non-practice. Like science says, matter consists of particles and also the waves. They both coexist. That is what I'm saying. Fact, you are not doing any practice. So very good. So let us look at the so-called step. Again, I'm saying so-called step because we are doing a non-practice. When we are not practicing anything, there is no step at all. But again, for the sake of understanding, we are applying the paradox logic. So internally, you are aware of that false I that can take hold of you. You are simply aware. Way, I told you, I just discussed, oh, that's neighbor's house. So you don't go and fight with the neighbor's house. You simply know it. You are aware. So looking at the neck joint, you are aware. Sensation, comfort, and steadiness. What is after that? Because of the awareness, because of the conscious mind, I experience. Again, there is I, communication only. So there is an experience of sensation, comfort, and steadiness. What is after that? There is only a space. What is space? And space is awareness. Until in this session, just declare that space. I see the space and blankness. Oh, okay, space is awareness and awareness is space. When you don't see any resistance in the mind, there is an acceptance that space is awareness and awareness is space. You are there. I need not to say anything more. But the mind says, no, what about this thought? What about that thought? What about my problem? What about my pain? Your pain? Where are you? So that I can point out where is your pain. You see, the mind deludes us. When we do not live in extraordinary awareness, no, can it be achieved? No, it's already there. So when the mind says you are confusing me, but still you are ready to resolve that confusion, you are a seeker. There you do. You don't want to resolve a confusion, you raise unnecessary doubts in your mind. That mind keeps on wandering. I'm making such a. Today is the last day of the year, so I thought better to go a little deeper. So look at the shoulder joints. Looking means you are aware. Awareness means awareness is independent of the experience of the shoulder joints. That needs to be understood. Why? To discern Why to discern? To falsify the false I, to negate it. Why? To find the real self. So when that understanding moves in your mind, as mind, how the mind can dare to put you in any stress? You miss it. Mind says, now I'm ready. So awareness of the shoulder joints, experience of sensation, comforting steadiness, then space. Space is awareness, awareness is space. In that awareness, there may be millions of thoughts. Let it be. So we can understand that awareness through a metaphor. Millions of birds are flying in the sky. Nothing happens to the sky. Understanding. No, my mind says that you have a lot of pain in the body. Okay, that is one bird. Then the mind says, now I am in a pleasure. That is another bird. Same metaphor, traffic on the road. So what happens? When there is a pain, then mind says, now will you get obsessed that you have a pain? And it has created the false I, and then you are gone. It's not a big deal. It's a play. It's a fun. Mindfulness is a play and a fun. It's a joy of conscious living. What did I say? Joy. Your mind is constantly seeking, but it is seeking outside. No, but you said joy of conscious living. Living is conscious. When the living is conscious from a moment to moment, there is nothing else except the joy. And in that joy, you recognize this body is not causing any challenges to you because there is no identification. What do you mean? You may have a very severe problem in the body, but the body, there is no identification. Hence, you already know it, what I want to say. The mind has recognized the problem in the world outside, but there is no identification. We recognize only the false side, and then we fall into the problem. We don't see the discern. We don't discern. I've been telling you, my friends. Then looking at the entire body, looking means awareness. And I told you the awareness is independent of the body. If it is not independent of the body, you would always be aware of the deep sleep. Look at it, the way the masters have done years and years of reflection to remove the ignorance. One example, I can give you hundreds of examples like that. So now, so to say, we are looking within. There is nothing within, nothing outside. They are looking within, the thoughts are coming and going. That is how I used to give you the step of being carefree. So you explain being carefree, take it as a verse, and then you redefine it. Why to redefine? To understand. So that is how I have been guiding all these sessions. Our masters have laid down principles that how to guide, how to teach. Oh, yes. So how do I redefine the being carefree? I redefine being carefree as free from all the cares. I did not understand. So we re-explain it. All the cares, who cares? Mind. So I am free from all the cares that the mind does. You see, now I'm going to go on explaining and elaborating. That becomes the instruction. You already know how we give the instructions in this journey. So now see, I'm elaborating, explaining. Why I'm explaining, why I'm giving instructions like this, so that your mind becomes clear and clear and clear and pure and reflects the reals. So what I said, being carefree, free from all the cares of the mind. Oh, the mind cares, but how the mind cares? Mind says you have a pain, you have discomfort. The mind is wandering. I did not sleep yesterday night. That is how the mind cares. No, 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 no. But what do you mean by being carefree? Let these thoughts come and go. Now you see that there is a clarity. So what is the thought? I did not sleep your last night. Oh, that is only a thought. At present, you are not sleeping. At present, you are aware. Once you have this understanding, the sleep is not going to disturb you. I can tell you. It is so simple to understand. Your understanding is living into that state. Then the mind superimposes its thought. And then a lot of people, not in this session, but a lot of people ask me, why don't you understand? I have a lot of pain. I cannot practice meditation. I cannot focus it. So they have to restart the journey again. Look at, I'm explaining being carefree. Simple meaning carefree, free from all the cares of the mind. But when the mind falls into the delusion, then it complains. And when it complains, you jump from one point to you fall down into the deeper consciousness. I told you the pain, suffering, duality, conflict are only recognized by the thought. Thought contains the knowledge plus the feeling. So what is that recognition that I am? What is this I am? Conscious mind. You are taking it as I am. To make those people understand, that is why we have to continue the journey until we reach to the state which is irreversible. Pick up any step. Look at the breath. So there, looking at the breath means there is an awareness of the breath. Don't bring in I. There is an awareness of the breath. When there is a cool wind, you see the leaves of the tree moves. You ask who moves it? Oh, it's a wind. No, but if the leaves are not soft, will they move? We miss so many points. Why? Because of the delusion. Why I said so? Awareness of the breath. Don't start claiming I have a short breath and a long breath and this and that. I am simply saying aware of the breath. What is awareness? I told you space is awareness and awareness is space. Okay, okay. So now the mind says, okay, when you see that first, it says, I look at the breath, it is going in and out. So become aware where it is going in and where it is going out. Now it is going in the body, it is coming out of the body, but you are not the body. Why to worry? The body first claims, forces you to accept that I am the body. And from that false notion, you look at the breath. Then the mind says, I will not help you succeed in mindfulness. Then the mind says, you see that? You are the body? Yes. Now the breath is going in? Yes. So where it is going in? It is going in you. It is coming out. But that breath is moving like a wind in the nature, which prompts the leaves to feel moving. There is no I-ness associated with the breath. Why it is associated on the body, then it is associated, it's going in and out. Otherwise, the life force is independent of the body. Did you get it? Who makes the wind to move? Who makes this breath to go in the body, to come out of the body? When you recognize, you are aware that life force is independent of any matter in the world. Independent? Yes. So wind is in your house, that does not mean the life. Wind leaves your house does not mean the death. Oh, life force is independent of the body? Yes. Where is the birth and where is the death? When you reach to that point of awareness, when there is no life in the death, there is no birth in the death, there is no stress and suffering also. I'm not saying to control the breath, I'm not saying to regulate the breath. Keep on looking the breath. That is what Buddha says. Normally we say focus on the breath. No, it's not required. Just an awareness. No, my attention span. Again, the question is unnecessary question. My attention span is very low. When there is any experience of sensation, good, bad, high, low, pain, pleasure, supported by thought and the feeling, identification takes place, and that identification creates the false I. Patanjali says, Vivek Khyatir Viplavahanupayah. What is the method? Discernment, separation. Two more points to continue to live into that awareness. I see you. So I say I have a proof that I see you. I experience the pain. So my mind says I experience the pain, hence the pain exists. I see you, hence you exist. We don't go further. We don't explore. So when you do not explore, you continue to live into that delusion. My perception to the sense organs are limited. My experience is based on my interpretation, based on the past experiences. I am not anywhere. When I am somewhere, false I. When I'm not anywhere, it's pure awareness. I'm everywhere. Consciousness is all pervasive. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand. Again, this is a matter of awareness. Bring the left hand. Make yourself aware of the left hand. Lift your both the palms. Place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside. Stay there to know, to understand. And then ask the mind, what is your experience? So that we can deliberate while sharing those experiences. Bring the hands down. And how are you, Sam?
Good. Felt the blank canvas.
Very good. That's good. Flat the blank canvas. The continuity of that state. First in a passive state, and after that an active state. Active means you are thinking, speaking, and talking. We can still live in. The space does not change, whether you are running, whether you are lying down, whether you are sitting, whether you are walking, whether you are talking. I give you some examples. So that is wonderful. So how are you, Terry?
I was in I was in the space.
Good.
The body was doing a couple of things. Breathing, a little bit of stretching,
Okay.
a little bit of dealing with alarm went off and I had to turn it off. But the body just did that like it was the game of being.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was just in this space. But it was so fast.
Yeah. We spend the same time. It means you were deeper. No worries. If attention span is not a problem, we can do the practice for 3 hours. That we did once.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
How are you, Kate?
I could have stayed for 3 hours
Uh-huh.
with extraordinary awareness. It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. If we continue, that is a communication. What I said, if we continue to live into that extraordinary awareness, so the mind starts thinking in terms of making an effort how to gain that. And there we miss the point. We are always in the field of extraordinary awareness. That needs to be realized. How are you, Ashok?
Sir, peace and calm, relaxed.
Peace and calm and relax. I could see the sea beach just behind you. It is because of the sea beach or it is because of me? That needs to be understood. So, my friends, a happy new year to you all.
Happy New Year to all. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste. Happy New Year. See you soon.
We will meet again in next year. Thank you.
After 1 year.